Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Here's a thought for the day, something to expand your consciousness a little bit. And this is a reading from page 293 in the Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo. Wonderful book, one of my favorites. And this is titled In Our Own Element. And it starts with a little quote from Mechthild of Magdeburg. And she says, "A fish cannot drown in water, and a bird does not fall in air. Each creature God made must live in its own true nature." Somewhere in the Middle Ages, in a remote part of Germany, this introspective seer, Mechthild of Magdeburg, came upon the wisdom that living in our own natural element is the surest way to know the inner prosperity of health, peace, and joy. Her examples are striking. All we have to do is put the fish in the air and the bird in water to see the dangers of being what we are not. Of course, it's very clear and obvious for both the fish and the bird where they belong, but that's not so for us humans. Part of the blessing and the challenge of being human is that we must discover our own true God-given nature. This is not some noble abstract quest, but an inner necessity. For only by living in our own element can we thrive without anxiety. And since human beings are the only life form that can drown and still go to work, the only species that can fall from the sky and still fold laundry, it is imperative that we find that vital element that brings us alive. I vividly recall my struggles as a teenager when my mother wanted me to be a lawyer and my father wanted me to be an architect. Somehow, I knew I needed to be a poet. Something in it brought me alive. The only one to understand was my boyhood friend, Vic, who, in the midst of qualifying strongly for pre-med studies, realized he needed to be a florist. For something in working with flowers brought him alive. This is not about being a poet or a florist or a doctor or a lawyer or an architect. It is about the true vitality that waits beneath all occupations for us to tap into if we can discover what we love. If you feel energy and excitement and a sense that life is happening for the very first time, you are probably near your God-given nature. Joy in what we do is not an added feature. It is a sign of deep health. So as you go through the day, try to get near to what brings you that sense of vitality. That's where your true nature is. That's where your true spirit lives. And it's the permission for that version of you to come and live, to work, to unfold itself. That's what true spirituality is. That's how you develop true spirituality. You go and write poetry if you need to. You work with the flowers if you need to. Or you become the architect or the doctor or whatever it is that you thought you couldn't, shouldn't, didn't have time, couldn't afford. People wouldn't approve. They wouldn't support you. You were too old. You were too young, whatever. Just let yourself discover your true nature. It will bring you alive in a way that nothing else does. And make a great day.